How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Cube Drafting 101. This is the third video by me, Jamie, from Scrub Games, and we're on the third Archtype, which today is the androids. So just a quick recap if you haven't been keeping up with the series. I've gone over in most of the videos. I've mostly gone over everything you might need to know about cube drafting. And in one of the last ones, I covered really briefly the archetypes, and now I'm going over each archetype. I mentioned in my video, going in more detail, as some of them have a lot more information, a lot more cards in it, a lot more interactions and things to talk about than some of them do. So without further ado, we're going to start off with the android one. So this is an archetype that is mainly in green. So actually, if you've played the game for long, or are a fan of the androids, they start off in green. Most have been in green, but then recently, in the last few sets, or quite a few sets that they've been in, they've gone into blue, they've gone into yellow, and I think there's one or two in green. Red. I know there's at least one in red, and it's a quite strong one. But they have drifted over to blue and yellows as the secondary colours, of the colours that they go into, but they're mainly in green. Like most of the time, they're always in green. And while also going into those two colours, they also went into the multicolours as well, going into blue, green, and green yellow. So I'm going to go over some of the cards in the cube of the android archetype. So the first one we go over is the main android, probably one of the best androids, is Android 17. So as you can see, this android goes into every single color. While it might not have a lot of cards in each color, it still goes into each color. So the main green ones we have is Dreadful Duo, Energy Guard 17, Limitless Energy, and Quick Sweep. Now, out of these four, three of them get more of a benefit from the Android 17 leader because of the fact that leader will reduce the cost of Android 17 and 18 cards by 1, but it doesn't reduce specified costs. So if you ever get an android like this Android 17 down here, the blue one at Universe 7 United, if they've got a specified cost equal to the printed cost, then you can't reduce them because because the Android leader doesn't specify that you can reduce specified costs. So in the instance with this, the leader won't make the Android 17 Universe United from a 2 cost to a 1 cost because it has 2 specified blue. Same with the 1 drops as well, because they have 1 specified cost next to printed energy. It won't reduce them to 0. But with the things like the Dreadful Duo Android 17, I can see its printed cost is 3, but it only has 2 specified green, so it means it can go down to 2, but you need to pay 2 green to play it. So with the first 3, they get a big benefit from drafting the Android 17 18 leader, because they become a lot cheaper to play, which makes them a lot stronger with that leader. But still, generically, they are very strong cards. And then with Quick Sweep as well, that's also a very strong card, just because of the fact that if you have no board at all, if you have no board presence, but you have green energy open, what you can do is just tap 1 green to either the play itself, which then means that you have, for 1 energy, you getting a free 5k combo, so you're turning energy into combo power. You can also use it to or if you have cell cards as well, you can make it into a free cost for things like Successor, or even then you can bring it out for combo cost for a rival and things like that, or even for Alliance as well. Because if you didn't know, Alliance requires a green and/or red battle card that be switched to rest mode when the card with a rival attacks to trigger an effect. So if you got a rival, if you got Alliance, you can just pay 1 green, play this out from the drop if you've got no board. Play the card with Alliance, swing with it, switch to Android 17, and unique card using from hand is the card with Alliance on its hand. So this has quite a lot of good utilities, and it's a very fun card to use. And going to the blue, and the one card I did miss out from the green ones was the Android 17 Negate from the Cell Side deck. That's a very strong card, just like how Roshi and the Roshi cards are very strong in the Earthling Archetype. The Android 17 is really good as well because it's a 1-cost Negate as well, that then can be used as combo power. But also has the benefit of if your leader is an Android, you can send an Android from your deck to your drop. So you can set up things like the Quick Sweep, or set up things, other things as well. I can't think of off the top of my head, but it's a very strong card, and being a Negate is very good as well. Now going into blue, Android 17 has a critical attacker for 2, which is quite good, which also counts as the Universe 7 archetype, so it blends into that as well. And in Android 17 Mechanical Prowess, it's got a searcher for your green or blue androids, but also getting you a discard if you need it as well. You don't have to discard off the effect because it's up to you. You can choose up to 1 card and discard it. So if you don't, you can either just use it as a 1-cost searcher, or a 1-cost searcher and then put something that you want in drop into the drop. And then blurring the lines of these colours, we have the Checkland for blue-green, which is Android 17 Protector Wildlife. Now, with the cube, as someone pointed out to me and made total sense, not all the Checklands are that playable. Like, most of them are, but there is one, being the green-yellow one, requires too much to be playable. Like, all the rest of them, on their own, they're playable, just they're good standalone cards, either as Checklands or to play them. But the green-yellow one requires specifically green-yellow cards to help benefit from its effect. So that one wasn't included, but the other ones that were generic standalone cards in their own right were included, and 17 made the cut. So this can be used as a strong, either as a Checkland if you want to go for the blue-yellow combination, blue-green combination, or you can play it as an effect to basically just, like green does, is store combo cards. Now going to yellow and red. Android 17 has never too strong cards, with the yellow one being a potentially free card to play. If your opponent has a card in play, a battle card in play that's got a cost more than their energy, and you have no board, you can play it for free, and then it's got the beneficial effect of when you do play it, which is good because it doesn't matter if you play it off as a permanent or if you power cast it. It's got an auto that locks down one of your opponent's battle cards, which is really strong. So you can buy your turn, or if it's a card you fear your opponent attacking, you can lock it down with this, which is very good. And then Android 7 in red, it's got he has himself as a really strong negate. It's a 15k 2 cost, plays itself, and if you've got a red 1-drop in your drop, play it from the field as well. So for 2 energy, you get 2 bodies out, and if the 1-drop's a cantrip, you draw a card as well, so you replace itself. And one of the really good things with the if you play red green with the Android 17 leader, the red Android 17 Red Bull reinforcements can be a 1-drop with the Android 17 leader, so it's got a big benefit as well. And to go off with the twin sister, we have Android 18 as well. So these are the 2 main androids with the most cards that, well, mainly represented androids. And just like 17, it goes into quite a few colours. I can't remember why I put the blue one over here with next to yellow, but it should be over with the other blue ones. And yeah, so just like Android 17 has got the main ones in the green ones, which Android 18 herself is the deadly defender of green. So if you didn't know, each color has deadly defender, which makes it if your opponent's the same color as it, if your leader is the same color as the deadly defender and the deadly defender is in rest mode, your opponent can't attack your leader card, but also this card gains loses 5k power during your opponent's turn. But it doesn't have barrier, so it's a good way to protect your leader. And it's probably one of the stronger ones because of the fact that with its Android archetype, it can be reused or even becomes more powerful. Like with the Android 17 leader, you can you can revive it constantly, or even with the Android 17 leader, it doesn't matter about the 5k because the leader boosts Androids 18s and 17s, and with the 17 leader, you can keep bringing it back if the opponent gets through it. Its effect, so it's quite strong cards, and then they're some of the strongest. They're the strongest green ones, and like I said before, like with 17, with the Android 17 and 18 leader, they will become 2 costs as well. Now going to blue, she's got some really good energy, some blue cards, being just like the 17, she's got a 1-drop searcher, but also has the benefit of grabbing back some of your blue-green cards that you have in energy back to your hand, replace with something else in your hand. So if you got, say, one of these 2 blue-green Android 18s in your energy, you can play this card, do a search for green or blue androids, and then at the end of the turn bounce one of these back to replace it with something else, so they're never lost, truly. The other blue ones we got is this Android 18 Steadfast Technique. This is a good way to make use of, if you got quite a few, if you grab some extra cards and put them in your decks that are really strong, but you've drawn them at a time when you can't really use them, or don't want to use, don't feel you need to use them, then you can always ditch them off this to make this stronger. And then Android 18, Never Energy, one of the best Android cards in the game, which is because it's a 3-drop 20k that draws 2 when it's played, and being 1 specified blue means it's very easy to play. The lower the specified cost means easier splashable, and less energy management in cube, which is fun. And it can be reduced to 2 costs with the Android 17 and main 25k as well, which is a very good card. And going into yellow, we have Android 18 Under Your Skin, which is just like Android 18, very good card. Only 1 specified cost, just like Never End Energy, but has the benefit of being a blocker that can then block an attack and then use the Activate Battle to tap down one of your opponent's battle cards. So if they swing your leader, you block with this, then use the effect to tap down one of the battle cards. So you block 2 attacks with 1 card, very good. And then Android 18 goes into some multicolors as well, a bit more than Android 17. Going into blue, green, and green, yellow. So in each color combination, she has an arrival card, which are very good. The hard cast itself, because it only requires one of each color for a specified cost. So playing it for 4 is never a bad thing, but also can arrival for 1 energy. And Android 18 Full of Rage can be constantly reused because of the fact that her Activate Battle. She's got an Activate Battle, which allows you to return itself to the hand and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards at 4 costs or less and return to the hand. So you can play it, swing with it in your opponent's turn if they swing at 4 costs or less. So it's like critical and you don't want to take the damage, you can just go, okay, effect, bounce itself back, bounce it back. And if you've paid 1 for this and they've paid like 2, 3, or 4 for it, then that's a good trade-off, because of the fact that they've paid a lot more energy for an investment than you did for your card, because you can just rival this in. And easy ways to rival these in are the 2 Android 18 Ever cards. So Bionic Blitz is the super combo. One of the best, some of the best super combos are the dual color ones, because having one of these with the colors of your respective leader mean that you've got at least one card that if you can't awaken or you're able to get on the 4, have sparking available, they're available to use. Well, they won't draw you a card, they get you some beneficial effects, like Android 18 will force your opponent to put a card back from the hand to the top of the deck. So it's got some bottom of the deck, so it's got some hand control. And Android 18 Perfection's Prey can also be technically a 0 cost 10k if you have 5 or less cards in hand. I think that's included in itself. But its activating main is unfortunately only beneficial with a cell leader, so we're going to go over more of that in the cell video when I go over the cell archetype. But all these cards, these are all the Android 18 cards we got on the cube, and they're all very strong and easily usable. And as you can see, not much specified cost required for those cards, so they're easy to put in any color, not just the Android theme. Now, the next strong Android that's got quite a few cards that's very good that isn't Cell, Android 17 or 18 is Super 17. So if you've played at least up until, well, if you've played from set 6, you'll know that Super 17 has its own chain, like Cell has like there's the Cell chain. There's also the Super 17 chain, which starts off, as you can see from the first one, Hellfire 17, Evil Revived, which is just on its own good because it's a 3 cost 15k barrier blocker, barrier card. So having barrier means it's hard to remove. And one thing with this chain is that even if you don't have all the pieces, still having just having the 3 or the 4 costs will play mind games with your opponent, because they have to wonder, do you have, like, they have to check your drop and wonder if you have a way to get up into further on into the chain. So you do have the mind games with this chain as well. And so with this chain, it's pretty good in almost it's probably a bit more consistent than the Cell chain, because once you get the free drop, you've got more options to go into. So with the free drop, you've got 2 options to go into 4 and 2 options to go into for the 6. whereas the cell chain, well, it does have more options as you go up, but like there's 2 options for the 5 cost from the 3 cost, and then from the 5 cost into more options. But it's more this is a chain you can play in almost anything apart from even with the 6 drops Super 17 so absorbed, you can still play in any color. It just gets the full benefit from a green android leader. So with the 4 drops, you've got 2 options. You've got Super 17 to Further Heights, which is basically just a barrier deflect, which can remove any battle card your opponent controls when you play it. It's very good. So just on its own, good removal for 4 energy. And then Super 17, the Infernal Machine, is a good way to control your opponent's hand while also having an attack your opponent can't stop unless they block it. Now, while Super 17, the Infernal Machine, has a heavy green cost, you can still play it cheaper with the chain. But it is a good card in the fact that it if you use its 4th effect, because when it's played, you can ditch 2 cards to make your opponent ditch 2 cards, and that's a benefit in the fact that you're making your opponent lose 2 cards, and also you can ditch cards from your hand that benefit in the grave or in the drop. So there's a good point in there. And basically, just having a 20k double strike that can't be negated is a very good way to finish off if you fear your opponent having a negate. And then on to the 6 drops options we have from Further Heights are Super 17 Cell Absorbed and Super 17 Power Distilled. Now, while Power Distilled is a good option in any, like even without the chain, because it can reduce by 4 cost. If you have 10 non-black cards in your drop area, it can reduce down to 4 cost. It has the benefit of the auto that just requires you to warp a card from your drop for the cost of the auto to force your opponent to warp a card, and if you have a green extra card in your drop, you can add that back to your hand. So if you've got some good green extra cards that you want to grab back, you can. If not, you're still warping a card from your opponent's hand, and it's dual attack and the auto, and being combination with it being dual attack with no for once per turn on the auto means you're warping when it comes down, potentially for 4 or even from the chain. You're ripping 2 cards from your opponent's hand to their warp and getting 2 swings with it as well, which is really good. And then the everyone Super 17, well, it might be more beneficial with a green android leader because of its auto requiring Sparking 10 and a green android leader to make your opponent discard 2 when it swings. Even then, it's a critical dual attacker, 20k, so it's swinging twice for 20k crit, which is very good. So even mid game, if you can get off the chain at 4, it's very good because the fact that you can, on 4 energy, you're hitting for 2 20k swings. And having deflect, it has deflect as well, which means it isn't being stopped from coming out. Or even in late game, you can then, or even with an Android 17, with an Android green Android leader, and 10 in your drop, you're then ripping 4 cards from the hand and pressuring for 20k crit, which is a very good finish for that. Now, with this card, it's good on its own if you have a green android leader, but it's only good outside of green android leaders if you have the chain. So if you have the chain, feel free to grab it. It'll work very well. But if you don't have the chain and you don't have an android green leader, pass on that and find something else from the pack. Now we have the other cards as well. One thing I did notice that I am missing from this is Agent Destruction Android 13. Now that card is one of the strongest cards in the cube, just because it's one of them that when it comes down, it doesn't do a massive amount when it first comes down, but if left unchecked, it will gain you so much advantage, and just as the opponent, you're going to lose a lot of resources and advantage, because the fact that when it comes down, it's a 20. It's normally, unless you have enough energy for its effect, it's a 20k critical, which means either your opponent's losing a life or wasting cards out comboing it. And then just for 2 energy, not once per turn either, just for 2 energy, it's got board control by popping any battle card as long as it doesn't barrier, and making your opponent discard 1 card as well. So for 2 energy, your opponent's loses something on the field and not something in the hand. And even if they don't have anything on the field to pop, you're still, for 2 energy, you go and discard a card, which is very good. And it's generic because it doesn't require any specified cost. Like, it doesn't require any specific energy for that effect. But on with the other androids. So we got all these are good utility, Android 19 Energy Fiend is as you've seen if you've seen my top 10 picks video, it's the #1 card I will go for in any color, just because of the fact that every turn, as long as it stays on the field, you can discard a card that's not useful to you that you don't want, and draw a brand new card, meaning you filter through your deck faster than your opponent unless they have a copy of that card in the other colors. And then with the Android 21s, they're all very strong cards, with File Creator being basically a champer for green androids. That even works with a leader as well. Terrible Creator being a searcher, not a top 5 searcher or anything, just literally like if you've played Yu-Gi-Oh! A Rota for androids, as long as they have android in the name. So for Hellfighter and Super 17 you won't find that, because they don't have android in their card name, not in the name itself. But any card that has in their card name, which is the name at the top of the card, if they have android in that, you can search it from Terrible Creator. So he's like the searcher for the Archtype. And then we got Android at 20 Mastermind Architect, which is a really good card because of the fact that it's a cantrip. And if you're drafting the Archtype and go into green and yellow, you can basically get up to 8 energy worth of cards and 8 energy worth of battle cards on the field, and a draw for this 4 energy investment. So turn 1 you can play this, or turn 2, and turn 3 if you've got 2 green and yellow, tap it to bring out 8, potentially up to 8 energy worth of cards. So you can get and it doesn't matter the colors of them. You can just grab up to 1 Android 18 of 4 cost or less, and up to 1 Android 17 with 4 cost or less. So you can either get the 2 4 costs of the respective colors in the cube, and it doesn't matter what color they are. So you can get the never ending energy as your Android 18 target, the draw 2 when it comes out, which is very good. With Android 16, this is a fun character because it has a super combo in the cube, which offensively is very strong, but defensively it's not very strong, because if you're defending and they shotgun their whole hand into the last attack, you discarding a card from their hand when you combo with it isn't going to help if they have no cards in hand. But if you're being aggressive and you combo with it when you swing, you're more likely to hit a card from hand. It's very good in that way. But it gives them more of a boost to Android leaders because there are only 3 in the cube, being all green. And Android 16 prototype power is a nice way to get rid of things 2 cost or less for power, or just removal for 2 cost or less. And if it's removed by skill and you have a yellow energy, you get an added benefit of tapping something down as well. And on to the last 3, we got Android 15, which is one of the combo 2-play cards. And this one's a very good card, especially with the Android 17 leader, because Android 17 and 18 leader, because while it's yellow, if your leader is green, when you combo with it, you get to play it in rest mode. And then you can choose, as a cost, you can choose 1 or 2 cards in your life, add them to your hand. When you play it, during your opponent's turn, you can choose up to 1 green energy, one of your green energy, and switch it to active mode. So if you tap a green energy for it, you can then untap that energy if your leader is if you take one in your life when you play it. So for an Android 17 and 18 leader, it's very good because you can just turn 1, charge a green energy, pass, they attack, you combo with this, play itself, and then use the effect, take 2 life to untap your green energy, and then then you're free to awaken because that leader awakens at 6 life. And then on to the Hellfighter 17 cards, you got the Neutralizer, really good counter at play, which can it's like a bloodlust for bloodlust. Is it basically a bloodlust that costs 1 more, but gives you a 15k body and can be used in any deck as long as you have one yellow energy. And then Inferno Forged is the 90k dual attacker, similar to that. Similarly that red and blue also have. There isn't one for yellow, I don't think, not that I can think of, but it's the same card as like the Kaba in red and the Gohan in blue. Just a nice for free energy, 2 19k swings for free energy, which is very good. And then going to multicolors, you've got more, as I said, androids are mainly in green, but they've gone to other colours, and in those colours they've gone into multicolors, being blue, green, and green, yellow. And with the blue-green, they're mainly for the Android 21 theme, which the 2 cards we have of that color, that is in the Android 17 that we've seen already, and the Android 18s that we've seen already. We have the Android 21 theme, which is Bad Omen, which on its own is a very good card in the fact that once you have this charged, you basically saying to your opponent that all you need to do is get them down to 1 life, and then you win because of Activate Main. Allows you to play it from your energy by tapping 4, 2 blue and 2 green, which can even count itself. And then it's also of when you play it, you choose a card from your energy and a card and place it in your drop, and then you get to choose up to 1 card in your opponent's battle area and life and put in the drop. So you basically get them down to 1, play this from your energy, and then put that last life of theirs in the drop. It's a good way to finish. And another good way to finish is Super 17 Hell's Ultimate Weapon. So this is a very good card for the Android Archtype to be able to finish, because once you go to, if you have this energy, once you go to turn 7, you can bring out a whole army of androids because of the Activate Main, which for just 2 blue, 2 green, and 3 of any other energy, you can play itself from your energy area along with up to 3 android cards that have energy cost of 5 or less. That basically from your energy. So you go 7 energy, you tap 7, play itself and 2 other ones, leaving you with 3 energy left in your energy area, and you can play any androids, doesn't matter what colour they are, as long as they're 5 cost or less. Now white won't get these 2 green yellow ones on the side here. It will get you Bad Omen and almost every single 17 and 18 card. So I think there's one time I tried it, and I had the option of bringing out the Super 17 itself, Bad Omen, Never Ending Energy, and Inferno Forge. So I had 2 25Ks, one that burnt opponent, by second off one of my other energies that I had tapped for the play to get rid of one of my opponent's battle cards and a life. Never Ending Energy, which allowed me to draw 2 cards, and was a 20k, and then Inferno Forge was another 19k, which is 19k that allowed me to attack two times. So I had 5 attacks on board, got rid of one of the battle cards in energy, and drew 2 cards for 7 energy, which is very strong for a finisher. And then with the green yellow cards, we have 2 very strong cards. In these 2 Super 17 cards. Now these are successors, so they're allowed to go. You can play them out for cheaper than their energy as long as you have that total cost on the board in green, yellow, or green and yellow. Now, while Super 17 Total Eclipse requires a Android leader, Hellstorm Unleashed doesn't. Now, the 6 drop has barrier, meaning that it's hard to remove, but you're gonna need to try and run over or have effects that go through barrier to get rid of it. But then, if you do drop it, you have the benefit of every time you attack with it, or if it's placing your drop by an effect. So either by successor running over it, or your opponent getting rid of it by an effect. You draw a card, and then choose one of your opponent's cards and switch to rest mode. So this could be anything. This could be your opponent's leader, battle card, or energy. You could tap down with this card, which makes it very strong. And then Super 17 Hellstorm Unleashed is very good. It requires 9, so that's a lot of cards you need a battle card, but it comes down for 3 energy. So when it's played, if your opponent has 4 life, they crit their life down to until they get to 4. And then similar to the 6 drop, when it attacks, you draw a card, and then choose up. But this time, choose up to 2 of your opponent's cards, switch in rest mode. So very good, very strong cards, not too difficult to pull off, and good options for if you go green yellow with androids. And the last one we have black androids, being the mirror cards. So these are the only 3 black android. Well, not the only 3 black androids, because the Android 8, which is mainly focused on the skillness, so I didn't add it in. But the other black androids we have are Arcane Absorber. The mirror androids. So they're all pretty handy. Very generic as well. Like there's you can play some of them for cheaper, some of them for hard cast them. So for Arcane Overflow, that's a very good card because of its auto, which is burst free, which you don't worry about the burst because of the fact that you don't deck out in cube, so you just burst free, and then you get the play when it's played. So when you activate this auto burst free, when it's played, you draw 2 cards. And it's got another effect of its Union Zorb, which if you drafted a tower, which I think there's only 1 or 2 in the cube. So if you get that, if you draft Arcane Overflow, Ultimate Transformation Mirror, and the only or one of 2 towers in the cube, you can then put the tower underneath it for Union Absorb to play the Ultimate Transformation out from your deck. So, but mainly what you're going to be using this for is a free cost 20k that draws you 2, which is very good, very generic. So with no specified cost means you can play it in any deck. That's a good pick, making it a very strong pick. Then you got Ultimate Transformation Mirror, which is a decent card. You can get out cheaper with Arcane Overflow, but most of the time you can be hard casting it, which is not too bad for 6, because when it comes down, you choose up to one card in your opponent's hand and warp it. So they don't get to choose, you get to choose, so you can drop their defense. And it's got the Activate Battle of you can choose one of your black battle cards for 30k power and place it in your drop area, so it's self or things like or like Mirror, Assault from the Skies if you drop that at the same turn. Or have Assault on the field and you drop Assault from the Skies if you draft them together. And you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards into their warp. So if your opponent's swinging at your leader, they combo Champa in, they give it double strike, and then shotgun in hand, you can just, and it's a battle card, you can just go Mirror's Effect, place itself in the drop area, and warp that battle card. This is very good. So it could be a very good way to be defense if you want to. It could be an option. And then you've got Mirror Assault from the Skies, which is basically overrun for 7, 1 energy. So you can help you finish off for a double strike, 30k. Also, they're all 5ks as well, so you don't have to worry about tapping energy to combo with them. And Assault for Skies just gives you a finisher, like then draws you 1 card, and if you can't finish them, gives you back an energy end. But that's all the Android cards, specifically for the Archtype. Sorry about that, I forgot to put the backgrounds ready to put back after. But yeah, so that's all the Android Archtype for this one. In the next one we're going over Maidens. But anyway, thank you for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it and found it helpful. Comment if there's anything I missed in Androids, or any questions you have that I haven't covered. I'll answer them the best I can. And if you have any questions about any other videos, drop them down as well, and I can cover that in another video or answer it if it doesn't need a video. And lastly, subscribe to my channel if you want to keep updated with my videos, because it's mainly on Cube Draft, but I also do deck profiles as well, and should hopefully get up some gameplay videos at some point when I can. But yeah, thank you for watching, and keep up, hold back, or see. I'll eventually see you in the next video, which will be covering the Maiden Archetype for Cube Drafting. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.